Welcome back to the Kinda Athletic Podcast. This is episode 21. I'm Sam.
21.
Yes, that was needed.
I'm Kellen.
And this week we're going to cover quite a bit. We're going to start with the NCAA College Football Week 2. Talk about a few things. Of course, UW and WSU we'll cover a little bit about, and then we're going to go into the NFL opening week. Quite a few things happened. A couple injuries, so we'll see the news on that, and then we'll talk about, of course, the Seahawks and how they did end up winning against the Broncos, and then we'll go into the MLB as we're closing in on the postseason, check in on Shohei Ohtani on that 50-50 watch. It's getting closer, and then we'll end. Actually, no, we're not going to end. We're going to talk about the Mariners, and then we will cover a little bit about NASCAR and the race at Atlanta, and then the next upcoming race at Watkins Glen.
For a second.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not racing in Atlanta, but I was like, oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
And then we'll do a Christian Athlete Spotlight, which is actually mine this week, and we'll end with our verses and a prayer. But like I said, starting with college football, we will start there. We'll start with WSU because I know Kellen is just dying to talk about their win against Eastern Michigan.
They looked really good. It wasn't Eastern Michigan, though. UW played.
You're right.
We played Texas Tech.
You did play Texas Tech. You did play a decent team.
They are a solid Big 12 team. I don't think they're going to
They're crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I never was like they're going to win. I think still Oklahoma State's probably the best team in the Big 12. But I also looked at it and was like, hey, we looked really good. The defense basically shut Texas Tech down for the majority of the first half.
Yeah.
Blanking on things I wanted to say. Everything just kind of went crazy.
Good.
Mater looked good.
197 rushing yards.
He had over 200 and then lost it in a sack. But it's weird because we got this. The Cougs are always such they've been known for the Mike Leach air raid, and Jake Dicker kind of did that, and now it's 21 carries out of our quarterback. He threw 19 times. He didn't throw very good, 115 yards, but man, did he just the option of him running and the movement and stuff is just crazy.
For
sure. Couple really nice catches. Kyle Williams had a really cool catch. It was a bobble. It got tipped up. He caught it. But yeah, like I said. They gave up 10 points in the first half, which was obviously more than the second half. But it was just the whole defense looked good for once. Our problem has always been stopping the run, which will be interesting against UW, obviously with the Apple Cup coming up. I will be there. Huh?
Coleman, their running back for UW,
he's been solid. I mean, the UW has not, like we were just saying, they've not been bad, but they also haven't played anyone.
Not yet.
So to me, you look at it and kind of go, yes, both teams are 2-0. I think whoever wins this game will probably be ranked, in my opinion. But I look at it and it's like, okay, you've played, I don't even remember who their first game, Weber State and Eastern Michigan. And I'm like, those are just not good teams.
I think Texas Tech is probably the best team out of
by
teams
far.
That everyone's
by
played.
far.
Our two teams have played.
But I understand what people are saying with this is not the biggest game. Obviously, Portland State putting up a 70 bomb. It's hard to put up 70 points against any Division I team.
Yeah.
But again, Mater has looked really good. Even that game he had a way better passing stat line with over 350 yards passing. So it was kind of a different change. Obviously, he only had 55 yards that game. But I think it's going to be a fun game. Obviously, it's a weird situation with everything going on. It's super early. Usually, we play this game.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like it's usually right off the bat.
No, it's Thanksgiving. So it's usually the last game of the season. And I know that obviously there's other games like that, like Oregon State, the Civil War is this week, which again, same type of thing. That's usually the end of the season because the end of the season for the UW and Oregon are together, which is just dumb, stupid, and no one likes it.
Pretty much.
That's what it is, and so that's kind of the way it goes. But yes, I thought the Cougs looked good. I think it's a lot of momentum going into this big rivalry week. I think this game, last year it meant a ton because obviously the Huskies were so good.
They were so good.
The Cougs had every opportunity to win it, and whether or not you say they choked it or they just whatever, the Huskies won it, doesn't matter. The Huskies did end up winning it on a field goal. But I genuinely think that one was huge, and if we would have beat them, it would have been just fun because you kick them out, whatever. But I think this one is going to prove and show how really upset people are with what's gone on. And I hope the Cougs go into this game thinking,
Go for it.
Yeah,
Show
screw you guys. You guys have literally, yes, USC and UCLA were kind of the main people that the first dominoes that fell, but Oregon and Washington were 110% the two teams that could have kept it all together and chose to jump ship and take the easy route out. Obviously, they all got screwed. All the Pac-12 teams got screwed besides Oregon State and Washington State because we got all the money and all the assets, and they jumped ship. So I just hope the Cougs win. Obviously, we've never had a very good record, but obviously this is not a conference game anymore, so maybe this will be a 1-0 start to the new Apple Cup era. But
we'll see.
But it'll be interesting. But yeah, some other big upsets, obviously, like NIU. Northern Illinois beating
that was going to say that
Notre Dame
was huge.
Awesome.
It was only 16-14, so it was definitely a defensive battle.
And it was a lot of running.
But they did end up. It was a game-winning field goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it wasn't time expiring. I don't believe.
I don't think it was, but just
it was
like
close.
That ended the game.
And it was NIU's first top 5 victory against a top 5 opponent ever.
Wow.
And the really cool thing, and I've told my dad this multiple times, like especially with the Cougs, is you got to hire people that have that passion.
Yeah.
Coach is a former quarterback in NIU.
Oh, I gotcha.
He was in tears. The interviews are super cool
That's
to
awesome.
watch and just whatever. Just how much it means to him. I always say that. I'm like, I get you can go hire your whatever, John Calipari's or your Coach K's, and they're outstanding people. But if you go find someone who's a decent enough person,
NIU fan,
and
for
loves,
example,
he played there, he knows what the culture and everything's about. It just means more. So I thought that was cool. But
yeah, I think the only thing I would say about the UW game is Will Rogers did have 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So their offense is looking better. He threw for 261 yards, and then Coleman had another 100 yards rushing. So they're putting it together. Obviously, it's not going to be like last season by any means. They don't have
not
3
even
top wide
close.
receivers and a first-round quarterback.
They don't have the best offense ever in college history.
They're putting it together. So I think I kind of like it being early in the season because like both are like not at a crossroads by any means. Like one loss isn't going to determine their season, but it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'll be there.
Like completely new teams, I feel like from last year.
100%. I'll be, and it is because I think, even the Cougs have lost a lot. Obviously, Cam Ward, he's going to be a Heisman candidate. It looks like, he's gone. If he stayed, I think the Cougs are favorites to win this game.
A step above for sure.
But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. Like you said, it's early in the season. Both teams are still trying to figure things out. When I watch the games, to me, and I'm not trying to be biased, but I think the Cougs have more put together than the Huskies.
Sure.
And that's because, the Huskies have a new coach, whole new coaching staff. They have a new quarterback, their whole offensive line's redone, the wide receiver, like everything's new for them. Yeah. The Cougs obviously they did lose bodies, but they have a lot more returners.
Some returning, yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Also, just kind of going around really quick, I'll just kind of quick fire them. Texas looked really good against Michigan. I don't know if Michigan's bad or Texas is just that good. Oregon does not look good.
Barely beat Boise State.
Boise State, I know, is going to be good. Boise State literally has a Heisman candidate in their running back, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
37-34, though.
Oregon looks terrible for a top 5 team. I think they were number 3 in the country to start. Now they're already down to 9, and they're 2-0, which tells you how bad they are. Iowa State beat in-state rivals Iowa, which was an upset on, I think that was a game-winning field goal.
Okay.
That was cool. Obviously, we talked about I just had the UW in there. Obviously, UW, took a quarter to kind of get going. The second quarter was really good. The rest of the second half was fine. I don't think they really needed to do anything. They kind of had it settled in. And then I already kind of hinted at it today a little bit just a second ago. I think Cam Ward is going to win the Heisman. Kid's unreal.
Miami, right?
Yep. Okay. They look like they're going to be a top 12 team. They look like they're going to be in the playoffs. I think you got a taste of him when he came from, because he came from, I don't know if it was a JUCO or where it was.
I think it might have been. I'll try to find it.
He came up from, and he was the biggest transfer, and he came to Washington State and was just really good. And everyone knew he was really good. Mm-hmm. And last year, he wasn't bad or anything, but obviously he left, which is okay. He wanted to test the draft, which is totally fair. But obviously he gets paid big bucks. But I can't remember where it was.
UIW, but I'm trying to find what that is.
UIW. It's Incumbent Ward. University of Incumbent Ward.
Okay. Yep.
He's really good. And I think I genuinely think he's going to win the Heisman. But that was all I had for college. I mean, we're getting ready for the Apple Cup. Like I said, I'm repping always. I got all Coug stuff on this week. You don't wear any purple this week because purple's the ugliest color on the planet. Just ready for the Cougs to hopefully pull out a big win, and then I go from that to the Mariners game. So it could be ultimate depression, or it could be
good day.
A really good Saturday. I don't know.
Yeah, one last quick thing. It doesn't matter too much, but Georgia maintains number 1 AP poll. They just look really good.
Georgia.
So there's
this
not
like
much
in
to
all
say
honesty,
about them,
I've always talked about this with people, and I know that it would never ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia is the closest team, I think, maybe this year or last year's team not last year's team. Sorry, I think it was 2 years ago. But this year's team, looks the closest that could play
In
and
the NFL?
keep up with an NFL team. Now, I'm not saying that
How interesting would that be, though?
they would never. You can't do it. It won't.
It'd be so
it
much-
won't
but
happen.
like a scrimmage. That'd
But
be
it
so
won't. But
fun.
they would still get blown.
No,
I
they
mean,
would,
even
but-
you could play the Carolina Panthers, and they're just bigger, faster, better, stronger. They see the game better. It's just different.
Yeah, it's just the best of the best versus a good team.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think that this Georgia team looks about that good.
We'll see.
They might be the best one. But yeah,
Thanks for listening to the Kinda Athletic podcast. Please like and subscribe to all our social media platforms and make sure to come back next week to hear more from the Kinda Athletic podcast.